Nigeria will be impartially governed according to the rule of law. We shall defend the nation from terror. We shall remodel our economy. The first subsidy is gone. The central bank must work towards a unified exchange rate.
It's been 2 years now since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made those solemn, far-reaching pledges when he was sworn in as the 16th President of Nigeria on May 29, 2023. Halfway through his 4-year term of office, President Tinubu is taking some of the boldest and toughest decisions that are now placing Nigeria on the sure path of genuine growth and progress.
I speak as a member of the Presidential Economic Coordinating Council, and I speak as someone who, from time to time, is opportune to have some conversations with Mr. President. His ruthless commitment and desire to see a transformed Nigeria is unrivaled.
I've known Mr. President now for almost 32, 33 years. He's somebody who likes to take bold step and bold move, and he's a visionary leader. These structural reforms which Mr. President did, really, you must give him credit. Even his own enemy will give him a credit, because removing total subsidy, making it an open market, for Nigerians to be buying at the market rates, and also doing the exchange rate on top of that. On top of that exchange rate, also doing the removal of subsidy to some of us in the high class in terms of electricity consumption, because 241% increase wasn't really a small thing. But all this have actually been absorbed by people without burning tires, without this, so it was actually accepted. And this has actually reduced the drain on government's resources. But on this one, really, I think Mr. President has actually done extremely very, very, very well. Because these were things that I thought they won't happen in our lifetime, but here we are.
Nigeria's economy was severely challenged when President Tinubu assumed office in May 2023. Revenue had fallen, with debt servicing taking about 90% of government receipts. Oil production had also fallen to a worrying level. The government had a mounting of foreign exchange obligations to deal with. And there were fuel subsidy obligations running into trillions of naira.
Nigeria's economy was on a cliff and in an intensive unit. And we weren't sure how soon it will fall. But when he came in, within a year, Nigeria moved out of the intensive unit, moved away from that cliff, and is now in a recovery position.
The economy was practically on the brink. Our external reserve position, particularly the net external reserves, were so bad that it was so difficult for us to fund our foreign transactions. It was so bad that the letters of credit issued by Nigerian banks in most cases were not honored by our correspondent banks abroad. So that created a major crisis in our external position. Then we had a major crisis with our petroleum downstream sector. We were spending anywhere between 10 billion to 15 billion US dollars importing petroleum products. So that created a major fiscal crisis. And as a result of that, we had a regime of massive printing of currency. At the inception of this administration, I think there was currency printing liability was about 23 trillion naira that was inherited by this administration. And that had very serious implications for our macroeconomic environment, for inflation, for deficit. And to make matters worse, the printing of money was done in a manner that was completely not transparent. So it was a very, very bad situation that required urgent resetting of the economy.
2 years on, and with bold and sometimes difficult economic policies, the economy is beginning to turn the corner. Government revenues have dramatically increased, just as revenue to debt service has also come down to around 68%. States and local governments now get more allocations than ever.
Thus, I've been able to push out economic growth that was the highest rate that Nigeria has seen in 10 years with what we did in 2024. And alongside that growth, we have seen other great indications, reserves of close to $40 billion, unencumbered reserve has grown by about $20 billion, which is from 3.99 to $23 billion. Nigeria was able to pay its IMF debt, the one that was procured during COVID, $3.4 billion fully paid, leaving some items of interest rates and special drawing rights to be addressed. Even we have also paid down Euro bonds and of about $2 billion of Euro bonds that we paid in 2024. And the states in 2024 alone in 2024, the states paid down 32% of their total global loans.
Now I can tell you that as a member of the National Economic Council, for the past 9 months, NNPC has not brought any money to Federation account. We largely depend now on Federal Inland Revenue and Nigerian Customs and non-oil revenue as our major source of funds for Federation allocation and fiscal mobilization.
The courage that has been displayed by Mr. President is quite unusual in this part. The hard decisions that we've spoken about for God knows when, he's been able to confront those twin problems. First, with regards to fuel subsidy, gulping about $10 billion every year. So he came in day one, faced that head on, and then the issue of devaluation of the currency and floating it, ensuring that there's transparency and confidence built in the last few months.
Stability is fast returning to the foreign exchange market, and the country has just recorded a balance of payment surplus of $6.83 billion for the financial year 2024.
I would say that we are entering what you can call a stabilization phase of the economy. The kind of volatility that we experienced in the second half of 2023 up onto the second half of 2024, those volatilities are beginning to fizzle out. From the second half of 2024 up until now, we have witnessed a kind of normalization, especially in the macroeconomic environment.
Our Fitch ratings are up. The reforms in NNPC, the signing of the new Investment and Securities Act, several important pivotal reforms that globally and domestically, everyone can attest to the inflection point that is the Nigerian economy this year. Portfolio investment is up. FDI is also up. You know, we've been tracking his investment announcements from his presidential trips, over 30 of them, as at December 2024 was $50.8 billion. Our job is to make sure that those announcements translate into bankable investments that we see through. And so those discussions and dialogues have continued to be ongoing.
The revenue of government has gone up 60% in 2024 compared to the previous year. And that's the federal level. At the state level, the revenues to the states has doubled. So these are signs of the improvements in the government revenues as a result of the bold and courageous changes that were made that you have mentioned.
The measures we have taken so far in terms of orthodox monetary policies, we can see have begun to yield fruit. They have begun to yield fruit. We can see that accretion to reserves have been consistent. And at one point in time, may I remind everybody that we achieved the highest level of reserves in the past 3 years at one point in time. We've also continued to see inflation gradually beginning to decelerate. We can see that there's greater confidence in our markets.
What has happened under the solid mineral sector in the past 2 years is unprecedented as a result of the deep-rooted reforms of the Tinubu administration. Virtually all the metrics in the sector have changed. Investments are pouring in. At the last count, the government has attracted over $800 million in new investments to the sector. Among the new investments is a $600 million lithium plant in Edun State, and another $200 million refinery near Abuja, and 2 additional processing plants in Nasarawa State.
We have a policy of local value addition, which is also part of our 7-point agenda. And the idea is that for so long as we could remember, even before we were born, our minerals have been adjudged raw materials, and they've been extracted and exported to service the industries of developed societies. And so under the President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, we say no more. Now, we do not approve licenses from applicants who do not show us concrete plans of local value addition, which means you must process locally.
Revenue to the sector has also quadrupled in just the last 1 year. In 2024, the sector generated over 35 billion naira, up from 6 billion in 2023. And this is despite receiving only 18% of its 29 billion naira budget.
We created the mining marshals, which has become very popular and very, very effective in Nigeria. Now, in the last 1 year, because the mining marshal celebrated 1 year of its establishment a few weeks ago, and I reeled out these very positive and remarkable statistics. They've arrested over 300 illegal miners in 1 year of its operation. Over almost 150 are undergoing prosecution across the states in the country. And we've secured over 9 convictions, including foreigners involved in this nefarious activity. And this has really helped us to send a strong message and signal to the operators in this sector that it's no longer business as usual.
Some of the tough but necessary economic reforms of the government have not come without some difficulties for Nigerians. But the government has responded positively to ameliorate the situation. It's increased the minimum wage to 70,000 naira. It's also established the Consumer Credit Corporation with a provision of over 200 billion naira to make consumer credit more accessible.
Hitherto, Nigerians, especially the working class, find it extremely difficult to get money to buy cars, to build houses, to buy even household appliances. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu thought there shouldn't be any reason why an average worker in Nigeria should worry himself because he wants to get some essentials of life. And so Credit Corp was established, and it's gladdening to note that it has done so well. So many Nigerians have been able to access that.
Another strategy to ease some of the fallouts of the economic reforms is a presidential CNG initiative launched by President Tinubu in October 2023 to facilitate the adoption of natural gas, a cheaper alternative fuel following the removal of petrol subsidy. Since its official rollout in May 2024, thousands of Nigerians and even government agencies have embraced the program, making the switch to CNG.
We've attracted $491 million of investment to auto CNG.